I stand in strong support of this amendment as well. To reiterate many of the points that the good Representative Candelora made on borrowing. You know, in our time here, at least in the 2 years I've served here, we have been debating endlessly about a pathway forward for our state, how we are going to hold the line on spending without increasing taxes. And while this budget certainly does that, what it does not do is really highlight the very worrisome number of, which is the amount we are borrowing as we are going into future years. This legislature has now been borrowing a tremendous amount of money compared to years past. For example, you know, in 2008, we were borrowing, let's see, roughly, about, let's see, 1.8 billion per year, and just last year, the governor set a soft bond cap of about $2.7 billion. And so when revenue is projected to go down, and God forbid we're to have another recession, what are we going to do when we won't have any money to pay for those bonds? So that's a very real concern. I think we all ought to look at the amount we're spending on debt service, which continues to go up exponentially, and we're just not doing that. We're borrowing funds currently through bonds to pay for operating expenditures. And that's a practice that's truly unsustainable. And when bonding agencies look at that, when we're looking to borrow for important projects like transportation investments, they're going to be looking at those numbers and saying that we won't be able to make those debt payments in the future. And what's going to happen then? Our interest rates are going to go up for no good reason other than the fact that we couldn't sustainably and properly manage our state finances. So, long story short, I'd be remiss to mention, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that I'm a young guy. And as a young guy living in this state, looking at our current fiscal crisis, I'm very concerned, and I think we should all be concerned about the mess we're leaving young people, the amount of debt we're going to be saddling young people with. And it's very real. It's not a Republican issue, not a Democrat issue, not an urban issue or a suburban issue. They're numbers. And if we don't confront these numbers now, we're going to be facing very, very difficult fiscal challenges starting just next year, when the individuals here who are lucky to return to this legislature will be dealing with a $2.7 billion budget deficit. And that deficit's not going to go away overnight. It certainly won't go away with the amendment we just adopted. So again, I'd like to just thank our ranking members of both the Finance and Revenue and Bonding Committee, and especially the Appropriations Committee, that put tremendous amount of work into crafting the Republican proposal. In addition, thank the good leadership of the other side of the aisle, specifically Representative Berger, who is the good chairman of the Finance, Revenue, and Bonding Committee, which I sit on, as well as Representative Walker, who has poured tremendous amount of time in this budget. With that being said, I think our amendment is certainly the superior amendment in that it institutes a bond cap, and I urge all of my colleagues to support it. Thank you.